Because reading is what?
Fundamental.
Hey guys, welcome back to What You Reading. I'm Lisa.
And I'm Delize. Welcome back, guys. So this week we are doing a fanfic. We're very excited to be back doing a fanfic.
Yeah.
Very excited. Yeah, we got a good one. So this one is called Focus. It's a Park Jimin story, and it is by Crybaby.barbie on Wattpad. So let's get into it.
Okay, guys. So this girl, her name is Anne Marie. It opens where she's like, they getting down, her and somebody getting down. But you don't know who that somebody is, but we know who that somebody is because we know it's a Jimin fanfic. So in the beginning, so it's basically talking about how she's doing an interview and she's letting everybody know, honey, I've been out and I didn't had a baby. Okay. She is very private. So she doesn't want everybody to know all her business, but she want her fans to know, look, I had a baby, this is why I've been gone for so long, and now I'm back. And so nobody knows who the baby daddy is. She don't talk about that. She don't talk about the gender of the baby. She don't talk about that. She just tell everybody that she had a baby. And the reason why she will not tell or let anybody see the baby is because the baby looks so much like Jimin, like so much like Jimin that it just do not look like her at all. Like so much like Jimin, when they see the baby, they know instantly who his daddy is.
Yeah.
That's a beautiful baby, okay?
I know, I bet the baby is so cute with a little tan. Oh, so cute. So cute.
Anyway, so as the story goes on, she has a what she is at New Year's with her parents. She's at New Year's with her parents. Her cousin and best friend are like big fans of Jimin, like they stand him, everything. And so in all her family, they love him too. So they're watching him on this like New Year's Eve special and they're like fanning out. And they all know that Jimin is her baby daddy, but you know, she kind of like not fanning out, but like, I'm not gonna tell them not to because they part of his friends. So so she goes home and she's like, I gotta get ready for this photo shoot. So the photo shoot comes upon, and she was going to drop the baby off with her mama, but then the baby was like whiny, and she was trying to wean him from her breast because she was breastfeeding him. So what she was trying to do is just give him bottles of her breast milk, but he was not taking it that day. I think his mouth, he was teething. His mouth was hurt.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he just wanted his mama breast milk. So she called her manager and she was like, look, girl, I'm gonna have to bring Kylo. His name Kylo, y'all. I'm gonna have to bring Kylo with me because he is not having it with these bottles and he wanna be next to me all the time. So she was like, okay, girl, bring them. So as she get there, she finds out that Jimin is gonna be a part of the photo shoot too. Comes to find out that she just was not paying attention to the email that sent to her, telling her about the photo shoot because she was so busy. So now she's like freaking out, hyperventilating. Kylo was asleep over here. She left him with her security, which I think is crazy, but okay.
Well, they like family. Like they're super, super close. Her and her security.
Okay, maybe.
Yeah, they real close.
I don't know. I just feel weird. I don't know. But like I said, it might have been because my son was a COVID baby and we was extra close during COVID, and I didn't want him to be nowhere, but whatever.
Yeah.
So she leaves him with her security, which she's super close with, and she goes to the bathroom and she's calling her best friend. She was like, girl, Jim is supposed to be here. I ain't read my email. I didn't know he was gonna be here. And her best friend was like, girl, that's his baby anyway. He need to know anyway.
I've been told you to tell this man.
Yeah. If he find out, he find out. It's okay. So she was like, girl, I don't know. She was kind of being selfish about it, of why she didn't want to tell him. But she also knew his fan base too. So that's another reason why she didn't want to tell him. So she hears Kylo started crying. So she was like, girl, I gotta go. He crying. So she goes to get Kylo, and guess who got Kylo? Holding him up. This is what I imagine. That he holding him up like this, looking at him. He looking at Anne Marie and the baby back and forth like this, and she like stuck like, I don't know what to say. So the next chapter kind of comes where he's like,
before you get there, sorry. I just pictured the whole phone conversation between her and her homegirl. Like she called her and was like, bitch. Bitch. And she was like, what? She's like, Jim and Ass is here. She's like, girl. She was like, I know.
Yeah, I'll picture that just like that. So anyway, so Jim was like, girl, we gotta talk after this photo shoot because I see this baby and you see this baby and this baby.
He has my whole face.
He is my whole face.
Yeah.
So they go ahead and they do the photo shoot and they get done. And he was like, girl, why you ain't tell me? Why you didn't tell me this is my baby? Because I could definitely tell this is my baby. I'm putting two and two together, you know. And she was like, I just didn't know how to tell you, your fan base, this and that. And he was like, well, Jimmy wasn't even tripping because I would.
He wasn't, girl.
He was
real cool about it.
Yeah, he was like, you know what, we just need to talk. And she was like, yeah, can you come over for dinner? You can come to the house for dinner and we can just talk about how we're gonna do this thing. He was like, I bet. So they went home and went their own ways. He didn't tell his mama. The whole time he was thinking, how I'm gonna tell my mama, how I'm gonna tell Eugene. He had a girlfriend, her name was Eugene. He was like, how I'm gonna tell Eugene this, that I got a baby. Like, this is just wow. And so he didn't even tell him because he was like, I just need to tell him face to face. It's not a conversation I need to have over the phone. So the next day comes, well, he does tell Taman. Taman is his best friend. He got two best friends, Yugi, which they call August D, and Taman. Do y'all know Taman from Shining? Do you know who Taman is from Shining? Okay. So that's his best friend in real life. So anyway, so he said, he told Taman like, what's happening? Let me know everything. I want to know all the details. So only person he tells him, and then like the next day, he gets up and he goes to her house, and they have dinner that day. I don't know what he did. Anyway, they have dinner later on that night, and she tells him everything that he needs to know. Why she didn't tell him how old he is, when his birthday, everything that he needs to know. Then she finds out that he has a girlfriend. And he was asking her, do you have a boyfriend? And she was like, kind of something like that. And so, go ahead, Dee.
So she was like something like that. So he's kind of looking like, okay. I mean, all right, cool. So they're trying to figure out things. He's like, I want to see Kai more often. Like I'm going to be here for a while. I want to see him as much as I can before I go back to Korea. So she's like, all right, cool. We'll set up a schedule, blah, 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 blah. He's like, bet. So they did do a DNA test because they were like, hey, I understand. Like, we're letting you know. Because so Mari, she has, everybody signed NDAs that is going to be in proximity to Kai. She does not play about that baby. So she's like, hey, Jimin, I know that you know and you're aware now, but I need you to sign this NDA. Oh, and he's like, cool, but I need to do a DNA test. She's like, no problem. I figured that's what we would need to do. They get their lawyers and stuff involved. They get the DNA done and it comes back. He's 99.9.99999% that baby daddy. So
and nobody had no doubt.
No doubt. And so he's like, okay, cool. So I'm going to tell my people so that we can kind of get things going. So now that the DNA has come back and his management stuff, their team is like aware, he ends up telling Eugen about the baby, right?
No, Eugen found out. So what happened is what Eugen found out, because remember, he goes to the hotel. Like, now, this is him going back and forth. He's been seeing Kyla going back and forth. Dimitri is now in the picture. Her and Dimitri's in a toxic relationship. Dimitri come over there when he wants to and leave when he wants to.
For some coochie.
For some coochie, and that's it. And he used the excuse of him trying to see Kylo, but he really be just trying to get some coochie, honey. He's not nice to her at all, and she just fought for him every single time. So that's kind of back and forth. And so that is when Dimitri was there. He seen No, he didn't meet Dimitri there. He went over her house. She ended up giving him the DNA stuff on his way out the door. He didn't even look at it until he got home. Knew, like you said, 99.99 was his. He got in the shower, and Eugene was there at the hotel, and she picked up the DNA. I mean the DNA paperwork or whatever, and read it, and she was like, "What is this?" And then he was like, "I was about to talk to you about that."
You was being nosy.
Yeah, he was like, she was like, "You cheating on me with her?" And he was like, "No, she was pregnant right before me and you got together." Literally right before. Because they was together for what?
I think 8 months. 6 months? No, 8 months. Wait, I didn't think Kai was that old.
No, he not that old, but she was pregnant, remember?
Oh, right. They were together I think they were together for 8 months.
Yeah. So anyway, he got with her right after he got this girl pregnant when he went back to Korea.
Yeah.
So then you go.
So she first of all, homegirl was in Jimin's business a lot, which I get it, like that's his boo or whatever, but she was like, "Why aren't you home yet? Where are you at? What are you doing?" Blah 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 blah, like all the time. Why is it taking you so long? You should have been here. All this other stuff. So they have that whole conversation about him having the baby, and she's like, well, "What are we gonna tell your parents? What are we gonna tell mine?" Blah 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 blah. And he's like, "We're gonna take care of it. Like I said, we're gonna take care of it, girl." Like, so
period. Because she was getting on my
girl, me too. So there gets to be a point. I'm gonna just kind of
go to the basketball game.
You said what? The basketball game. So Jimin ends up going to a basketball game with August D, and while he's there, he sees the dancers and things like that, and he sees this guy coming up to August D because they're like really close. So the guy that August D is really close to is Demetrius, which is the guy that homegirl will be dealing with, kind of sorta. So he introduces them, and so Jimin's like, "Oh hey," and Demetrius like, "Oh hey." Seeing Jimin, he's probably like, "Oh shit, that's that's the baby daddy right here in the flesh." So he has that in his mind. But at the game.
No, so at this game, that's when Yugi introduced Dimitri to
Well,
Jim.
yeah, I already said that part, but I'm saying like it's okay.
I'm so sorry. I was looking at my notes at the same
time. No, it's okay. So I know they introduce one another, or him to him, but he doesn't meet Demetrius's girlfriend until the other event.
Yeah.
Okay. So he's like, okay, interesting guy, whatever, doesn't think too much of it, and then just kind of moves on. So that's that, like, the game. Because he still has kind of
I'm sorry.
Okay. No, go ahead.
He figures out who he is at the game. Like, he's heard him before
from
her, and he knows who he is because he's a famous ESPN announcer. But he didn't know to the extent. And he was talking about having another. Wasn't that around the time he was talking about he was with another girl at the game?
That's what I was talking about. Yeah, because I thought he was like up on some girl at the game, and Jim was kind of like
there. I just think that they were talking about who they was with. Like Yugi was talking about who he was with, and he was in a toxic relationship. Remember? Yeah. And then he started telling Dimitri was telling them who he was with, and he was like, "Wait a minute." Jimmy was like thinking, "Wait a minute, ain't he with Anne Marie or whatever?" And then he was like, just like, but he ain't saying that because Jimmy always been like, "Let me mind my own business, not my business," right? So, but he didn't say nothing about it. And so at the end of that night, he ended up going back to see Kylo that night after the game. And he still didn't say nothing about it.
Not a thing. He was just like, all right, that's not my business. That is not my story to tell. So yeah, so Jimin's connected the dots, and he's like, this is who this guy is. But he had a weird feeling about him, like from the very beginning. He was like, I don't know. And then him talking about that chick, he was like, that's not even the same girl, but maybe they got something I'm not aware of, so I'm not gonna hop into something that don't have nothing to do with me. Right. So he goes see Kylo. He's spending more time with Kylo. Everything is cool. They're doing this over the course of the time that he's out there. He's trying to plan different things, but he's also trying to be considerate of the fact that, she has things already planned out for Kai. And so there's at some point she's like, hey, I want you to meet like my people. Is that too far?
Well, yeah, because that right after that, he ended up going back to Korea, telling his parents that about Kylo. And then they go see her parents.
Eugen's parents.
Yeah, they go see Eugen's parents. Eugen, they tell him, the parents about the baby Kylo. The parents are instantly nasty with it.
Super racist.
Like, let me tell you something. When he told his parents,
they were so cool.
Parents, and his parents was real cool about it. They was not racist, but they were like, you cheated on Eugen.
Right. They felt some type of way. Yeah, they felt some type of way about him doing the girl wrong, but not the fact that he had a baby with a black girl.
Right, because they did like Eugen.
Yeah.
And so, but when he went to tell her parents, Eugen parents, they was very racist.
Like, yeah, they were.
Very racist. And he was just looking like,
because he had his parents sign the NDA because they wanted pictures and stuff like that. And then he was gonna have Eugen's family do the same thing. But after that, he was like, they'll never be around my baby. Because they'll treat him bad.
Still sign this NDA because I didn't tell y'all, but y'all ain't gonna see my baby.
Ever. And so there gets to be a point where they're now back and he is going to meet up with Eugen. Wait, I'm mixing this up so bad. He meets her family before Eugen meets her, right? So okay, so at some point Jimin meets the family and they think he's a great guy or whatever. And so Mari doesn't want to cause any rifts or anything between his and Eugen's relationship. So she's like, hey, I just want to make sure I clear the air with everybody. Like, you and Eugen come over. Kyle's going to be here. We'll have dinner. It'll be cool, whatever. So he's like, bet, we'll do that. So they go over.
No.
He's playing.
So what they were saying was, remember, this is the Victoria's Secret thing. And she was like, oh, bet I could just meet her after the Victoria's Secret thing, remember?
Oh, I forgot about that whole thing.
Yeah, so they had the Victoria's Secret show. She was in it. August D was in it. Jimmy was in it. And she had not been eating.
And Demetrius's girlfriend.
Yeah, and Demetrius' girlfriend. But she has not been eating because Demetri been coming back and forth, but he been in her ear and he been like, girl, don't you think you need to go to the gym? Don't you think you need to work out? Don't you think you need to put that food down? Like, he been in her ear. But in reality, Marie looks great. Like, she snatched.
Yeah.
For her to just had a baby 6 months ago.
Yeah.
So they go to the Victoria's Secret show. She's walking the runway. She's walking it with August D. August D giving her an eye. Everybody noticing that August D giving her an eye or whatever. And she's like, she's still feeling lightheaded, but she's like, the show must go on. The man that was the fashion designer was like, girl, you okay? You sure you need to go back out there? She was like, I'm fine. I'm just high. I'm just tired. And so he was like, all right. So they put, the second outfit on. Now she's going out there with Jimmy. Jimmy looking at her. He like,
and he can't take his eyes off of her. And Eugen peeps.
I don't even know if you just see that.
I don't know. I've got a feeling she peeped.
She's been jealous since the beginning. Announcement.
Beginning.
Yeah, so she goes out there. I just imagine Jimmy. You know how he be. Might not like that. That's what I get from that. So anyway, then she goes back, and then she has to go one more time. The second time she went, she seen Demetri out there thinking, oh, he came, but no, he came for that girl.
And what's crazy about that is homegirl had been asking this man to show up for her for any of her stuff, and he would like always have an excuse as to why he couldn't come. So when he showed his cool ass in there, she's like, oh, my boo showed up for me. The whole time he there for his girlfriend.
Exactly. So then, she all upset. She mad. She heated. It's hot. She ate. She in her head thinking, maybe I should have had some fruit or something. Because she about to pass out. So she go back there and she's like, wobbly or whatever. And they was like, girl, what is wrong with you? You are not going back out there. You can't even walk right. At this point, you just going home. So she's getting ready to leave. She see Eugen and Jimmy sitting out there. Jimmy like, and Marie, you all right? And she was like, I'm just tired. That's her her thing.
Her phrase.
I'm just tired. I'm just tired. So then she ends up going home. Her security, which is like her BFF, was like, "Girl, what you want to eat? Because I'm about to stop by and get you something to eat." She was like, "Oh, just a salad or something." He was like, no, I got some chicken Alfredo, which I've been eating a lot of chicken Alfredo, like because of it. I got some chicken Alfredo, and you can eat that. My wife made for me." So then he took her home, and I guess she ate that chicken Alfredo. But guess who came over that night? Oh, Dimitri. Didn't care nothing about her past night. Didn't care nothing about her well-being, nothing. Because guess what he wanted?
Some coochie. And she gave it to him. And you know what was so crazy about it? She knew. Yeah, but she knew every time. I know he always to come over here for this. He don't ever want to for real see Kai, blah, 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 blah. Which I like, okay, that's not his baby, but like, okay. But you know that he's not shit, and you still continue to give him coochie.
Cause she's so lonely.
But like you giving him, not only you giving him coochie, but you giving him your time. Like, girl, you didn't have to do that. He wasn't worth it.
Right.
So he come over there for that. He bounced the next day. She feeling like she feeling because she always feels like kind of like shit afterwards. But he's such a bad guy towards her, and it's really sad because he just talks crazy to her. He like seems nice, and then he don't get his way with something, and he turns immediately and has something nasty to say.
Right.
So that happens. Oh, go ahead. No, go ahead.
You want me to tell?
Go ahead.
So at this part is when her mama ended up coming over there that next morning. He leave. Mama ended up coming the next morning, like she was bringing some food or whatever. She talking to her mom. And the only reason why I mentioned this part is because she asked what her daddy was. And guess what her mama said? "Oh, girl, he at home watching Martin." That is so black. Baby, because black people go watch them reruns of Martin.
Girl, I just uploaded on Netflix. I was like,
Yeah. He at home watching Martin. But anyway, so Jimmy and Eugene comes over that day. Okay, there you go. I just wanted to mention the Martin part because I thought it was funny.
Oh no, it's all good. So Eugene and Jimmy come to the house. They're playing with Kai, or he's playing with Kai. Eugene's over there looking stank because that's just what she do. And in the midst of the time that they're there, because she's been kind of pressing him to talk to her about like getting more time with him and taking him to South Korea with him and all this other stuff. And so he's like, we'll talk. So it gets to the point where Mari's like, "Hey, I want to ask you guys to sign this NDA, blah, 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 blah." So he's like, "Yeah, no problem, whatever." Eugene is like, "I'm not signing nothing. Like, I don't understand why I need to sign anything, blah, 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 blah." And Jimin kind of goes back and forth with Mari a little bit. And she's just like, "Okay, whatever. I'm going to leave it. I'm going to leave it alone." Because she's like, "Okay, I can understand why she might feel some type of way." But
ain't going up back and forth with her. No. It was Eugene that was going back and forth with her. Jim was down there playing with that baby.
Oh, that's right. Okay, so
was like, remember she said, "I don't know him, and I don't know."
Right. She's like, "Well, I mean, you should, Jimin trusts me, so you should trust me too." She was like, "I don't know him," like, which is, I get it.
Yeah, she was like, "I don't know him, and I don't know you." And then Jim was like, "She is right. She don't know me like that."
Yeah, and she really don't know you. So
yeah, the only reason she trusts me is because it's my baby.
Right. So she's just like, "Well, I'm not doing that, blah, blah, blah." Jimin was like, "All right, whatever." So because they don't do anything with the NDA while they're there. But when they leave, Jimin's like, "Hey," they have a conversation. Jimin and Mari have a conversation, and she's like, "Hey, I thought about it. Don't worry about having her sign it on my behalf. I don't want to cause any rift between y'all." He's like, "Okay, bet." And he turned around and turned to Eugene and is like, "Hey, girl, I need you to sign this. Not because Mari asked, but because I'm asking you to sign it. So like, if you want us to be a thing and you want to be around when I have Kai, I need you to sign this." And she was like, "Okay, whatever." So she, she do her thing with that.
No, so after they left or whatever, Demetria ended up coming over there and they started arguing because Anne-Marie finds out about him getting a girl pregnant. And so they get to arguing back and forth about the girl being pregnant.
Wait, I thought I thought she found out about him being engaged. Or is that later?
Oh, it might have been. It might have been they got it. She found out that oh yeah, you're right. She found out that he had a girlfriend, right?
Yeah, so because it was something that happened at a public event. And so there was stuff everywhere about him proposing to this girl because a lot of people had seen it. And somebody sent it to her and she was like, oh, okay, bet. So then he comes over and they get into about the fact that he got a whole fiance that she didn't even know
Oh
nothing
yeah, and
about.
that's why she didn't make you just sign that NDA.
Right.
And she said she didn't want to come between nobody.
Right. So she was like, oh, so they get into it. This is when they get into it real bad with the cops, right? The cops get called. Okay.
No,
So no,
that's
this isn't that time.
no.
This is oh wait, what time was that? That happened. Oh, that was a different time. So they
Yeah,
get
that
into
was
it real
later
bad
on.
about yeah. They get into it real bad about the fact that homie got a whole fiance and she's like he's like, I mean, you already knew what it was between you and I. You know, I didn't want you like that. Da, 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 da. I'm just here for the physical and I'm here to be Kai's goddad. And she's like,
Yeah, she was like, he was like, you know what this was between us.
yeah,
You knew you weren't my girl.
yeah.
The
Like
nerve of you,
the
sir.
nerve. So she feeling all woe is me, blah 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 about the whole situation and all
Mhm.
this other stuff. And so she feel like crap the next day because she been crying and stuff all night.
Right. And she asked him to leave, and he was like, I'll be back to see Kyle.
Right. I'm gonna be back anyway. So, I'm gonna bring some
Yeah.
gifts with me when I come. Because every time he come through that door, he got something for Kai.
And she just
So
like, open that door and let him right on in.
right on in to her coochie and her home. It's
Period.
crazy. So so the next day happens. She's kind of feeling like she's
That's when she have that appointment for Carlo.
Yeah, so she have an appointment, which Jimmy knows nothing about, but you know who gonna show up? Demetrius. Demetrius shows his cool ass up at the same appointment because he's been there for all of her appointments. Well, so she told him about the appointments that she had a while ago before Jimmy came in the picture, so he knew the schedule.
I just find that really hard to believe that a man gonna remember that doctor's appointment.
For a baby that's not yours, please.
Right.
And a girl that you don't want, please. But whatever. So he show up at the appointment and he keep that in his little back pocket for later so he could pull it out on Jim and be like, and this is why I was at the appointment and you wasn't, da 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 da. So she goes to the appointment, everything's cool, everything's good, all that good stuff. So now she is she's gonna end up meeting up with Jimin again because he wanted to see Kai. And so when he gets there, I think Demetrius is either on his way out or him and Demetrius cross paths at some point. And
because the messed up thing is that her driver had an emergency on the way out the doctor's office. And he was like,
that's what it was. That's what it was. She had to get a ride home.
Yes, he was like, where your driver at? And she was like, he had an emergency. She was like, and she started to call her friend or her mom or somebody. And he was like, you ain't got no ride either. Girl, come on and get in this car. And she
had no choice. So she hopped in the car with Demetrius to go to the house, but Jimin's on his way over so that he could play with Kai. And so they end up,
And he talked to junk too. The
whole time. Like, talking mess about her. Why ain't he at your appointment? Why am I the only one that's coming to? First of all, nobody asked you to come here anyway. First of all. And secondly, yeah. Ain't nobody asked you. Secondly, he don't know because he just new to this. Like, I'm not trying to just throw all this stuff on him, Right. So he like, well, whatever, blah, 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 talking mess the entire time. Then they get to the house and Jim come up and he said something about the doctor's appointment and was like, yeah, because I was at the doctor's appointment, kind of making it like, where was you at? Why was you there? Jimin like, first of all, can we just talk about how cool Jimin was through all this? He didn't cuss at nobody. He didn't really say too much. He was just like, yeah, no, I mean, I just didn't know about it, but we won't need you to be around in the future. So thank you for doing that, but we won't need your services anymore.
Right, we don't need your services.
We don't need you. So you can stop. So he ends up leaving and then Jimin ends up coming and hanging out and he's like kind of looking like, how are you doing? Why is he around? Blah, blah, blah. So it gets to a point where he's like, I don't want
tell me about the appointment.
That whole part. And she's like, well, I just didn't want to bother you, blah, 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 blah. And he's like, this is my kid. Like, now that I'm aware that I have a kid, I'm going to be in the picture, period. So she's like, well, my bad. I'll do better, blah, 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 blah. So he's like, okay, bet. So they have, I forgot what I was about to say. Oh, they have a conversation because so by this point, Jimin's aware of how Demetrius ain't shit. She's aware of how Demetrius ain't shit. And he like, look, I don't want him around my son.
No, that ain't
I
it.
do not want
That ain't it.
that. It's when they have the big fight.
He don't tell her that until they got into that big old fight.
Oh, for some reason I thought he told for some reason I thought he told her that after they all found out that he had a fiance.
He didn't tell him he don't want him around until they got in that fight. Remember, in the police case.
Yeah, you're right.
I just got down that that Jimmy been talking to Yugi about Amory and about Kylo, and then he tells him about how him and Yugi been into it all the time.
We forgot a part. We forgot a part though, because Yoongi didn't know about Mari being his baby mama until after a bunch of stuff happened, because they all went to a party. So Megan Thee Stallion had invited them to some stuff. They went to perform and all that. Yeah. So they were she was performing with her, and she went to an after party, which she doesn't normally do any of that. She normally goes home, all that stuff, but she decided to go. So it's a bunch of them at this party, and she's like hanging out with August D. Well, they're like, there's pictures of them, there's like stuff happening. So people are seeing all this and it's being posted on social media. And like Yoongi's kind of feeding into it, but not for real feeding too much into it. But he interested.
Yeah.
Well, he's unaware that Jimin is her baby daddy. And they're like this. So it gets to a point where Yoongi's kind of trying to be a little bit more, press up a little bit more on Mari. And Jimin finally is like, hey, bro, I just got to let you know, I got a kid and that's his mama. So you can't do that. So then so he does start telling him more about it, but that's after all of that happens.
Okay, and then what made me mad about it is when you just seen it, because she had Kylo at her mama house while she was doing this out with them. And Eugene was like, should she be at home with her child?
She's a mother. She needs to be
a mother. She shouldn't be drinking and
all this stuff.
And Jimmy, don't drink. He feeding into it. He was like, I mean, she a good mama. She done had him for this long, and she made no bad decisions. I think she know what she doing. But in the back of his head, he like, but she shouldn't be drinking though.
Yeah,
but he wasn't. He was thinking that in her head. She should be drinking, but she wasn't even drinking the whole time.
She wasn't drinking. She was just chilling. She does. I don't think she drank, if I remember correctly. I don't think she drank.
She ended up being a bartender for them.
Yeah.
But she told him she couldn't drink because she had to.
Oh, she's breastfeeding. Yeah. So she was like, I'm not drinking, but they saw the picture, so they had just assumed. And Eugene's got like this big social media thing. I guess she's like a big social media girly. And so she always knows what's going on. She knows everything that's happening in the Hollywood or whatever. So she's feeding all that to Jimin, and Jimin's kind of like, yeah, I don't know, but again, real chill about it. He doesn't go off or anything like that. He's like, I'll just talk to her about it in the morning, So this next day he goes and sees her, all this other stuff, and they have a conversation, and he tells Yoongi all what's going on, and then that's kind of, so Yoongi, that ends up like just dying. That's it.
So I think we left off with how Jimin comes back. He is and Jimin gets busy, gets to visit Kylo to embrace. Okay, so it's like how Jimin got his house this time because he didn't want to have a hotel, and he gets kind of busy working and seeing Kylo. He kind of going to see Kylo sometimes during his breaks. Anytime he gets to see Kylo, he's going to see Kylo. And so yeah, I just got written down. I guess I kind of skipped around. And says Dimitri comes over and talks about how he needs her. So now Dimitri coming back and forth, and now she know about this baby now. And he's like, he comes in the door. She's like, you need to leave, get out. Like, it's like she's like, she was ready to kick him out. And then he was like, wait a minute, I need you. I need to talk to you. And she is soft, think about that baby, and lay him right on in. And
So,
guess
and
what he get? What he want.
what do you want? As he does every time. The thing
Yeah.
about this is the thing that I was talking about that comes up and then you don't hear anything else about it. So they don't even go into detail about what happened, but all he says is he's like, it's about the baby. And the homegirl was like, you need to get you a lawyer. And that is
Yeah.
it. You don't hear
She was
nothing
like,
else about
you
it.
need me, you need a lawyer.
Yeah.
Like, so we like, what happened?
What happened? And they don't talk about it no more. So
But I thought that he might have just been lying just to get up in there. But
well,
evidently
maybe
he must have told her something because she was like, you don't need me, you need a lawyer.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like something was said that I just wish that we would have known what was going on. I know it wasn't necessary for the story, but I would have liked to know because now I'm nosy and I wanted to know what Demetrius had to say.
I want to know. Right.
Yeah, I just want to know what he had to say. Right. So, yeah. So she's like, you need a lawyer, and that's it. Go ahead.
Yeah, so she's trying to make him hurry up and leave before her mama get there to
Because
get.
sorry, not to cut you off.
No,
Nobody in her family liked this man. Everybody dislikes this man strongly. Every single body. They do not. They cannot stand him.
Nobody really likes her.
Because everybody. Let's just be honest. Mamas and dads know when people not good for you. Whether we can see it or not, they just know that people aren't good for us. And they will tell you, well, you don't need to be hanging out with them or you don't need to be doing this. And most of the time, we as their children, like, you don't know what you're talking about. And they be right the whole time.
Yeah.
So they probably picked up on it for real. They probably knew he wasn't shit. And that's why.
And like
that's
we were
what I
talking
think.
about, honey, you know what? She probably going up with her crying to her parents all the time about him. And they probably just over him, and she keep going back to him. So you know. So yeah, she wants him to leave before her mama get there because she's leaving to go to another photo shoot. Meanwhile, the Jimmy is in an interview with, what's the name of the interview? Oh, a Wired interview. Wired.com, Wired.com or something like that. He's asking questions that the fans sent him. Which is cute. I wish they would really do that. You know, BuzzFeed got that thing where they ask, with the K-pop, they do it to a lot of people.
Wired does too.
Oh, yeah, okay. Well,
yeah, Wired does. Actually, most of those interviews are Wired. I mean, they do have BuzzFeed too, but Wired does them as well.
Okay. Yeah, but I wish they would really do that.
You said what?
I wish they really would do that.
I know. The thing about this interview that was interesting is that nobody knows that Jimin has a girlfriend. They are very secret, very secretive. So they ask him a question about dating and things like that. And he's like, oh, I'm so busy. Yeah, I'm so busy. I can't do this. I can't do that. Da, 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 da. So they're like, who's your celebrity crush? I think I forgot who he named.
He said Doja Cat.
Doja Cat. That's right. That's right. So he was like, Doja Cat's my celebrity crush. Yeah.
You
and
can
so
tell that he was just saying something
because he couldn't say, because he wanted to say Mari, but he was like, I can't say that. So he just said Doja Cat, and they was like, okay, cool. And they moved right along.
And that's when the tables really started to turn for them.
Yeah.
Because because in the beginning, he wasn't looking at her like that. Remember, y'all, that he do not know her. She do not know him. At this time, they've been back and forth seeing each other. Yeah. And now
he's starting to get feelings.
The feelings starting to come. I don't know why. You know how it is.
I don't know why I feel the way that I feel. It's just something about him. It's just something about her.
Right. Every fanfic.
Every single one. Go for it.
So at this point of the story, Jimmy has been telling her. Now he ain't told her that he don't need to come over there, but he been talking to Marie about Dimitri, and he was like, why he been still coming over here and stuff like that. And so when he goes home, he see Eugene, and Eugene was like, did you know that he was his godfather? I seen him at a restaurant talking to some girl, and he was being loud and was talking about this. And Jimmy instantly got mad now, because now he mad now, because why you keep coming around my son? So he calls Marie, because Marie was like doing a photo shoot or whatever. And then he was like, she didn't answer the phone. So he called her a couple of times and she didn't answer the phone. So when she got finished with this interview, now Kylo is with her mom. And she called her mama after. She was like, do you know why Jimmy called me 3 times? Because it was late now and then she didn't want to call him too late. And she was like, I don't know. He came to see Kylo today during his break. So I don't know why he called, but I'm sure he good. Just call him, check on him, whatever. So she called Jimmy and Jimmy didn't answer the phone. Eugen did, and she was like, yeah, he called me. He called me a couple of times. Everything all right? And she was like, yeah, he good over here. But I'll tell him you call when he wake up because he sleep. So right after that, Dimitri ended up calling. Dimitri called, and he's like, he drunk. And he coming over there, he was like, I'm about to be outside, open that door. And she was like, oh. So as she's like getting ready to go outside, I'll go open the door. I guess she's going downstairs or whatever. Which I want to say something about this too when it get close to it, I'm saying. But so she goes downstairs to open the door, and then her phone rings. She didn't even look at it. She picked it up. She was like, I'm coming, dang. And it was Jim, and he was like, Marie, what's wrong? Or whatever. She was like, oh, I thought you was somebody else, whatever. And he was like, can we talk tomorrow? We really just need to talk or whatever. And she was like, yeah, we can talk or whatever. And he was like, okay, I'll see you in the morning. So she hung up the phone with him, and then here comes Dimitri, and he come in here all drunk, all belligerent. She was like, you need to leave. Although, baby, why did you open that door? If you
Why did you open the door? Girl, that annoyed me so much because I was like, this man is outside. Well, I know why she opened the door, because he was drunk, and he was outside going to be crazy. And she was like, I don't want people in my business, so I'm going to have to bring his ass inside. But girl,
yeah, true.
You should have left him out there and been like, I don't know who that man is.
You know what this remind me of? Every time I try to leave, something keep holding me
Yes.
back, telling me I need you in my. That's what that is.
Girl.
So he was all drunk. He was like, you can't get mad. You knew what this was. Don't nobody want you. Your own baby daddy don't even want you. And was just going off, going off. And they got into it so bad that like she threw something at him and it broke. But she didn't hit him, but she did end up making him leave. But that was that loud.
But he pushed her and she hit her head on the thing.
I didn't know that part.
Yeah, he pushed her. She hit her head back, and so she was kind of feeling a little bit away, but she started crying again, and he ended up leaving, but she was crying on the floor.
He did leave though this time.
And so the next day happens. Jimin's on his way over, and when he gets there, there's cops at her door. And so he's like,
Jimin right there looking with the cops. Like,
yeah, like, what's going on?
Yeah.
So they're like, hey, we didn't want to bother you last night. It was late, and we came and checked on you, and it was all the lights was out. It was dark and quiet. So we just assumed that, whatever, we would check with you in the morning. And so they were like, we just had gotten a noise complaint. It sounded like there was some arguing. We just want to make sure you were all right, which threw me off a little bit, because I'm like, if you got a call about a noise complaint or a disturbance or people arguing, why would you show up and then leave and then worry about it the next day? Because if it was really something serious, like serious, they wasn't going to be able to answer the door anyway. That was weird, but whatever. So they talking about the whole thing, and she's like, oh no, like it was fine. Like we're all good, whatever. So they leave, and Jimin's like, girl,
what happened? And don't leave nothing out.
Leave nothing out. So she goes to tell him the whole story, and he like, okay, great, because I want to talk about this man anyway. He don't need to be showing up over here dealing with my son at all. And she's like, no, I know, that's my fault. I know we said I wasn't gonna have him around, blah 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 blah. She's like, I understand, I'm sorry, blah blah blah. Now she like, all right, I probably need to go get a little restraining order because homie put his hands on me, and that's not cool. So she go to get her. No,
Jimmy said you are going to get a
restraining order. Yeah.
So she go get you. And then she was like, okay, I'll call when I leave. No. Do it right now.
Right now. Yeah. He's like, I need to see it. I need to see you do this. So she like, all right. So she get her little restraining order. And so, but it's not just for Demetrius, it's also for his fiance. So they got that whole restraining order in progress. Wait, what happened?
For his fiance
originally, but what happened that caused it to be for his fiance as well? Something happened.
So later on down the line, she get online and
that's right. That's right.
That fiance been talking junk online.
Yeah. That's right. So she was like, go ahead and add her. Add her to that thing. There's like no problem. Sign.
And so now she all upset. She crying. She just pitiful about how this didn't happen. She just tore up about it. Jimmy just lights her up, and he was like, first of all, you don't even have to deal with this. You got people in your life that love you. Why you have to deal with this? So let me just brighten up your day, because Taman wanted me to tell you that he wanted you to come to his concert. He got 3 tickets. And she was like, what? Because she loved Taman more. Like that was who she fanned out of.
Yeah.
So he was just like, yeah, I got these tickets for you. Taman wanted you to come, especially bring your best friend and your cousin, or whatever. And she was like, oh my God, thank you, Jimmy. Thank you so much. And she all happy. And he was like, you know what? I'll just keep Kylo. It'll be my first time keeping Kylo, if that's okay with you. She was like, you think you could do it? He was like, yeah, it's my kid. I could do it. She was like, okay. Thank you so much, Jimmy. And then, they kept moving from there.
Mind you, whole time feelings are starting to develop between the both of them. She don't know why. He don't know why.
So as the concert, she's getting ready to go to the concert. They end up going. She looking good, smashed, And Jimmy got Kylo over his house. They just playing. Meanwhile, Eugene over there looking angry in the corner with her phone.
You don't gotta see him all the time. He not even gonna remember why he always gotta be here. Why he's so loud? Why Girl, hush.
Yes. Oh, she was a nuisance. And Jimmy just over having his best life with his baby.
I know. It sounded cute.
But she did look at him and she was like, he does look just like you.
That is his twin, whole face. I didn't even see a picture of him, but I know what it looked like.
Jimmy said, twin, what have you been?
Nobody.
So she over here with this stank face. He over here living his best life with this baby.
And he catching the attitude. Sorry, he catching the attitude with her because he like, why are you always acting like this whenever Kai come over? He gonna be around, girl. If you don't like it, you can go. Right. Well, he didn't say that, but
Yeah. So as that night goes on, Kylo is screaming his head off, and Jim do not know why this baby is screaming his head off like this. He like, Kylo, I done gave you everything you need. What is wrong with you? He start Googling stuff and all that good stuff. Come to find out, Kylo just want to be held, honey.
That's it. He just want a little bit of touch.
He wants some skin to skin because he used to skin to skin. Also, he's still teething.
Yeah.
So he was like, okay, well, let me just take my shirt off and put you on my chest. I was like, oh, Jimmy.
That's too funny.
Anyway, so the baby was laying on his chest. That's when Kylo chilled out. I miss Jimmy, okay? When I read this story, I read the story. And what was I was like watching something, BTS something. And I was like, damn, Jimmy looks so good. But I keep forgetting that when I read fan fiction and I go back and look at them, I be looking at them like, damn, why they look so good? Like they
completely different.
Yeah, they imprinted in my head with the story. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So, I know after reading this story, I have been back on my BTS binge. And I was watching Bang Bang Con the other day, and I was like, I was just fangirling out because I was so excited about it. And I've been just watching a lot of BTS stuff. I've been listening to a bunch of BTS music again. I'm just like, I miss them.
I know, because a lot of stuff is coming out. Then Jen had that whole Jen is out, y'all.
Jen is out.
Y'all don't know Jen is out. And
They
she
had a
had a whole
whole.
concert by herself.
That's what I was about to say. That's exactly what I was about to say. Yeah.
We was just talking about how we've been immersing back into BTS.
Oh yeah, and back into BTS. Yeah. So,
and I'm so happy for you because, girl, where have you been?
listen, I mean, girl, I missed them so much, and I was like, you know what? Let me start like looking at stuff again and watching stuff again, and then it made me remember like how much I love their music and how much I just love them, and I just think they're so cool and great and all that stuff. So it's been really nice to jump back into the fan fiction because it made me go back to like the stuff that I loved about them and really enjoyed to do. It just makes me happy.
Yeah.
Made me happy.
I feel like that too, because honestly, like when they went to the military, it was just like everything stopped for a minute.
Yeah.
It was some things that was out here, but literally because they were just coming out a little bit of stuff at a time just to keep us there.
Yeah.
But it was quiet for a minute. And
yeah, it was quiet for a minute.
Now Jen's then got out and all this stuff about to happen with Jen. And then for, Hobie will be out and then the rest will be out by next year. So
and I noticed that they've been pushing a lot of content lately, like over this last maybe like week or so. And I know it's because, it's the anniversary and all of that. But they've like really been pushing a lot of content. So I'm like, ooh, what's about to happen? What y'all about to get into?
Yes.
Because they signed that contract for an extra like 10 years or something like that.
So I want to hear it, ma'am. When these concerts come out, we're going to one together.
Oh, absolutely. We're going to a concert, girl. If they touring again, we are going. We're definitely absolutely
because you know what? I really be feeling like that might be their last. I ain't gonna even lie. Ain't gonna hurt.
I mean, honestly, that's probably correct. That's probably correct.
2 years after 2025, and that's about
it. Yeah.
I think Mom June is just over it at this point.
No, I agree. We'll see.
But back to the story.
Okay, back to the story. We have, I don't know how much time we have. Go ahead.
So as they are at, he still have Kylo. Kylo going to sleep now. Eugene comes up. He falling asleep in there. He ain't even moving Kylo because Kylo ain't finna cut up like he just did. So he ain't even moving at this point. And Eugene wakes up and he ain't in the bed. And she was like, come on to bed, put him in his crib and come to bed. And he was like, nah, I'm not even moving. This baby just cut up on me. I am not moving. And she was like, he'll be all right. And he was like, I'm not moving. Go on back to bed. Go on, girl. I ain't got no time. So she went on back to bed, and he was woke at that point. So he started scrolling, and he seen Henri from the concert, and he just was like looking at all.
She's so beautiful.
She's so beautiful, and he was like, "Why am I looking at her like that?" But she's so beautiful.
So at this point, he's realizing some stuff and some things about where he's at with her. That's all I was gonna say.
So the next morning, he gets up, and that's when Tay-Man and Yugi comes to actually get to see Kylo, and he's like, they're playing with Kylo and all this good stuff, and then Jim is showing them all these maternity pictures of Anne-Marie, and he's showing her these like them pictures of Kylo when they were young, and but mainly of the photo shoot when she was pregnant, okay? And so here come Eugene in here. She was like, what y'all doing? And they was like, oh, hey.
Because they don't like her either. They don't like her either.
So they was like, oh, girl, hey, how you doing or whatever. And then he was like, oh, we over here looking at these maternity pictures of Umbria. And she was like,
excuse me?
Did you see the baby pictures of Kyle too? He was like, oh no, show me the pictures, Jimmy. Show me the pictures. Then she looking sideways like, why you ain't showing them the pictures of Kylo? You over there showing them the pictures of Marie. And he picked that too. In the book, it say like he kind of was like side-eyeing her at the time.
Yeah, I feel like he side-eyed her a lot when it came to Kylo and Marie.
Yeah, because she always has some smart stuff to say. Like
always has something smart to say.
Just over there.
Why you gotta see him all the time? He a baby. He not gonna remember nothing. Like, girl, hush.
So then Marie come and get Kylo, and they like, oh hey Marie, hey girl, how you doing? And they like, you just sitting over there like, why they ain't speak to me like that? speaking of her like that. So anyway, so then she just take, she cut up with them a little bit and then she take Kylo home.
Yeah.
And so I think she calls him that night. She's like, hey, my daddy wants you to come to the dinner that we having for him, I guess for his birthday or something.
Yeah,
and
his
Jim
birthday.
was like, oh, I'm honored. And she didn't just invite him, she invited Eugene and Jimmy.
Yeah.
And he told her, and then first of all, Eugene had this nasty attitude about it again. And so they end up the next day, he's like getting ready to go to this dinner, and he like picking out clothes. She was like, you ain't look like that. You wasn't dressing up for my parents when you first met them. He was like, first of all, this is not a competition, honey. This is a different story. I'm meeting my child's grandparents. It's a different story. And she was like, how is it different? How's it different? He was like, girl, I can argue with you. It's different. It's different. And so he ended up leaving, going, and Eugene ended up going her separate way because she had something to do anyway.
Yeah.
So she had this photo shoot or whatever. And she ended up seeing her friend. No, she had a meeting about Calvin Klein, I think it was, being in a Calvin Klein shoot. And she seen her friend, and her friend worked for TMZ. Now, why would you tell your friend that work at TMZ your business? Now, what we forgot to tell y'all is that when they was talking about this whole NDA thing, and he was like, why you don't want to sign it? And she was like, because sometimes I got to vent to somebody other than you. You biased. So this is who she vented to, her friend Claire. Claire worked for TMZ. She telling her all the business. Everybody thinks she's so innocent. Did. So Claire was like, girl, I ain't gonna tell nobody. So that's about the end of that. Oh, I did want to say that your friend put all this stuff in her head about Jimmy and Marie.
Put so much stuff in her head.
It wasn't even really, honestly, nothing going on with them at all.
At all. And she really put stuff in her head. And then she was putting stuff in her head about Marie, about what she may be doing and all this other stuff. And I was just like, girl, like sometimes you just don't, like, I know people vent to their friends and that's all well and good. But if they're coming from a different perspective or a different place, that information is going to be trash.
Mm-hmm.
That perspective is going to be trash. Like all the advice that they give is going to be trash because they coming from a place of hate.
Right. And not only that, it ain't like they were good friends, like they be talking every day.
Right.
Like clearly in the book, it was like talking about how they were friends, but they hadn't seen each other for a while.
Yeah.
So why would you think to tell your famous boyfriend business to this girl? And she worked for TMZ.
Right. Sorry, I had to yawn.
It's okay.
Yeah, that mess is crazy.
So Jimmy ends up going to the family dinner. He has a great time.
Yes.
That's what Marie first was, he's such a good father.
Right.
He's this and he's that. And she was like looking at him and he's looking at her. And her parents looking at them. Like, y'all getting along real good. Y'all getting real close. Like,
yeah. They noticing
y'all looking beautiful together. Like,
yeah.
So.
They peeped.
Mm-hmm. But Jimmy had already told her, okay, girl, after dinner, can we talk? So they ended up going to Amory's house, putting Kylo to bed, giving him a bath, all that good stuff. The whole time they're giving him a bath, she's like, oh, he's such a good daddy. And so they put Kylo to bed, and they have a whole discussion about how he wants Kylo to have his surname. So she's like, it took her but then she was like, yeah, that's your son. He need to have your surname. We need to get this legally changed. So anyway, so they end up, she agreeing. And as Jimmy was leaving, she was sniffling and running upstairs. And he was like, oh, why she acts like that? She's so lonely. She's so sad all the time. And Jimmy was feeling away for her. Okay, go ahead.
So no, you're okay. So he was like, he felt something for what was going on and was like, okay, well, I'm gonna let it alone. Homegirl was feeling a way about him about Kylo taking the surname, because once that got put out there, then like it would be really easy to find. And she Eugen, sorry. Eugen. It would be really easy to find. And so they were like, I don't know, like maybe not. And Jimin stood 10 toes down on everything when it came to Kylo. He was like, this is what we're doing. Period. You can shape up or ship out, girl. Like, this is what's happening, whether you like it or not.
Saying, this does not play out in your favor. Keep on.
Because she kept trying to be like, well, what does that look like for me? And what about me? And and all this other stuff. And he's like, girl, this ain't got nothing to do with you. Like, this is my son. He is going to be in my life. You may not be around, homegirl. I mean, which, yeah. So the part where I'm gonna hop to where homegirl hops on the internet and starts going in about
well, wait a minute, but they went to dinner, remember? Now, one important thing that you need to not skip is that when she was talking about that tour, because they was having dinner when he told her about that surname, and he thought it was good news, this is good news, and she like, this is not good news.
Oh, the tour that got canceled?
He was pushing back the tour.
Gotcha. Yeah, so Jimin had a tour that was supposed to be coming up, but he ended up canceling the tour so that he would be able to spend some more time with Kai. And homegirl was like, well, I didn't want you to have to do that. Like, I feel bad that you did that. And he was like, well, no, like, I want to make sure I'm around as much as I can be. And also it gives me a chance to do other stuff. So she was like, okay, cool. Eugen was not happy about that. She was not happy about that at all. So after that whole thing,
just right, and basically where they were spending a lot of time together, Jim and Amory. They're spending a lot of time together because of Kylo, and he's getting drawn closer and closer to her, and like getting like a lot of tension is happening. And so he go home with Eugen, and they get it on. He tried to get it on with her, and he was like, "Nah, this ain't what I want." And she's like, "What's wrong with me? Why you don't have sex with me?" He was like, "I just ain't in the mood tonight." But the whole time, Marie was in that man's head bad. And so,
because wasn't that the night that they kiss? Or was that the next night? Next time?
This ain't when they kiss. So they end up getting into it. Eugen and Jimmy end up getting into it. Bad.
Okay.
And she started saying real bad stuff like he an NDA baby, like just saying all kind of things about Kylo, racist stuff and everything. So the truth started coming out of her, and he dipped out on her. And when he dipped out on her, he ended up going to Yugi's house. He stayed a couple days at Yugi's house. Then the night, like another night after that, he ended up going to Marie's house because he wanted to see Kylo. Well, he spent a lot of time with Kylo. They talked about a whole bunch of stuff. And when he was getting ready to leave, he was calling his driver. His driver was like, "Have you not like seen outside? Like, go look outside." They were snowed in. It was all white out there. And so he ended up having to spend the night. She was like, "It's all right. I got another bed. He can stay in that room or whatever." So he ended up staying in that room, but he was not asleep. He was in there tossing and turning and going on. And then he got up, he heard something downstairs, went downstairs. She cut her hand on something because she was making some cocoa. They had some really weird like interactions because they both was like,
They was hot and bothered. They was both hot and bothered.
And but she ended up was like, "I'm going to bed," and she just dumped out herself and went to bed. And he was like, "Let me sleep on the couch because I need to be as far away from her as possible at this point." So he ended up going to the bathroom, and then guess what he heard? Oh, girl playing with herself. Not only playing with herself, calling his name while she was playing with herself. And guess what he did? Looked in the drawer, found some lube, and played with himself in the bathroom. But why she got lube in that bathroom? That's what I want to know.
Yeah.
Like, I thought he was looking for some lotion. He was clearly in there looking through the drawer.
He said, "This is an emergency."
Right. So he relieved himself in the toilet. He made it, he said. And then when he was getting ready to walk out, they met at the door, and it was like, oh. And she was going to the bathroom to wash herself off because she had cum running down her leg. Yep. And he gonna stick her fingers in his mouth and say, "Don't be embarrassed. You still taste good." And she like, Okay. But my question about this, remember I said I wanted to come back to this question. Why y'all got one bathroom in that two-story
Well,
house?
yeah, I don't got an answer for that.
Because they keep they keep meeting at that
Passing each other
bathroom.
bathroom. Yeah. I don't have an answer for that.
I was at the part where he had sucked her fingers. And now
Oh,
she's
that's
in
right.
that bed and she in the bed like, what just happened? And he just made it so much worse because I've been thinking about him this whole time. So after that, the next day comes around. He was like, let me see if I can go home. Come to find out, he called his driver. His driver's like, nah, the situation ain't better outside. You probably not getting out until late tonight, early in the morning. And so he was just like, well, I'm gonna stay another night. So the next day he get up, he like getting Kylo breakfast and all that kind of stuff. He like cooking breakfast and all this kind of stuff. It's a little awkward, but they still making it work. And they got to talking about what they were gonna have for dinner and stuff like that. It just came natural to them how they was just flowing, and they both like just noticed how easy they were flowing. So the next night come and he's still rolling around in that bed. And where do they meet? At the bathroom.
In the bathroom.
And he was like, you can't sleep? And she was like, no, I can't sleep. Or whatever. And Jimmy say, I can put you to sleep. She like, bet.
She said, you ain't saying nothing but a word. Let me
What you
All right, come
and
on.
they got it on, and it was so beautiful, and it was so good. The smoke was good. Jimmy went into dom mode, daddy mode. Cause she was like, oh, I really haven't seen him. Like he been so sweet. He really was acting like when he stuck to her figure, she was like, this kind of remind me of when we first met and we had sex. Blah, blah, blah. So yeah, he beasted that thing. You hear
Yeah,
me?
he did. Yeah, he did. And she was thinking about that thing all day long.
And he let it all up in her, honey.
And did.
Because we forgot to mention that the reason that Eugene and Jimmy end up getting into it is because they was having sex because he was trying to relieve himself because of her, and he was thinking about her in his head with his eyes closed, and she was like, Jimmy. And then Jimmy was like, oh shit. And she was like, it wouldn't have been that bad if we would have got pregnant. And he was like, what is you talking about? It would have been that bad. Are you crazy? I already have a baby that I'm just not getting to know.
She's like, why are you comfortable making a baby with her and you can't make a baby with me?
Then she started talking junk about Marie, and he was like, first of all, we weren't drunk. We was both very sober. We both knew what we was doing. I would have sex with her 1,000,000 times over you if I could have Carlo again.
Which is so crazy because why would you say that?
Huh?
I said that's so crazy because why would you say that?
Yeah,
like it may have been the truth, but you didn't have to drop that truth.
But he was mad at this point.
Yeah.
He was mad at this point. So that's why they end up beefing and he just end up leaving.
Yeah.
But with Anne-Marie, he let it all up in that thing.
All in it. She's like, we're gonna have to figure something out because I'm not trying to have another baby right now.
Right.
So it gets to a point, so they kind of keep doing the back and forth thing. There's something big that happens, but I don't remember what it was. Didn't something happen where no? Did I make that up?
What ended up happening is they start talking about how the court thing happened. Cause she ended up, I think we skipped the part where we skipped. She did end up getting the
restraining order.
The restraining order against her and the girlfriend, because the girlfriend was talking that junk. We skipped that.
Yeah.
The girlfriend was talking that junk online, telling her business. And then they sued them, and then they had for millions too. And then what happened? Something else happened.
I don't remember. I know something else did happen, but I can't remember what it was.
Yeah, that's what happened. So they ended up like being together. I guess what ended up happening is the girl released stuff. The girl that worked for TMZ
Oh, that's
released
right. And they had
all
to do
that
damage
information,
control. Yeah.
and they end up following Jimmy. Seeing like the next morning after they had this great love making that they had,
Yep.
the next morning her lawyer and his lawyer, no, that managers both called at the same time. Was like, "Are you with Jimmy? Are you with Marie?" And they was like, "Yeah, why?" It's all over TMZ. They got pictures of you leaving Marie's house, all this, whatever. And Jimmy got so mad, and Jimmy lawyer was like, "All you gotta say is go, honey, because we got both statements ready. Which one you want? You
Which one do
want
you
one that
want?
you want to deny the whole situation, or you want to tell that y'all together? Because we got both of them ready to go whenever you're ready." And he was like, "Yeah, put that statement up there, me and her together." And so that's what happened. They put the statement out. They was together. The next day, I don't know if it was the next day or later on that day, there was a bunch of paps at her house, and she was like, "Oh, this is not good. This is not good." But she just didn't understand it because in our American mind frame, we just don't operate like how they do in the media in Korea. And she was just like, "Why can't we just call the cops and make them go?" He was like, "No, girl, my fan base different. They different." He was like, "We got to go." So they ended up getting them a good old hotel room. And they was going to the hotel room, and the security was dropping them off, but it was so many people from Jimmy's fan base that was there. They was grabbing at Kylo's car seat. She ended up dropping the car seat. Now she like, oh, she crying and going off. End up getting the car seat. Jimmy out here like, who touched my woman? Who touched my baby? He busted down people, punching them in the face. He out there fighting and swinging. She getting in the lobby. Her nerves is tore up. Kylo crying like crazy. Jimmy out here mad to myself. Fuck this. I want to fight. I want to fight.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want no lawsuit. I want to fight.
Yeah, he
Or
said,
whatever.
forget
They
these
was like,
papers. They gonna get these hands.
they about to get these hands. And she was
Yeah.
like, calm down, calm down. And he was like, baby, calm down. I got you. I ain't never gonna let nothing happen to y'all. Ain't gonna never let nothing happen to y'all. So they end up just staying in the hotel for a couple of days. And what else happened after that? Was pretty much
That was pretty much it for that. But the thing that was so crazy about the whole situation was the reason why they were able to just put the announcement out that they was together and nobody think nothing else of it is because him and the old girl was never officially out there as being a couple. So for him to be like, yeah, this is who I'm with and this is my child, nobody really thought too much of it. And they was gonna be like, that's her word against ours. We got all this going on. She got that. She looked like she just mad. So they was like, we're gonna put that out, and that's just gonna be that on that. And they was like, okay, bet, like that's what we gonna do. So they talking about they together and they doing all this stuff. Well, at some point, Jimin, so they go through the court thing. That whole thing happens. They get the lawsuit. Jimin talking about some, he wants them to be together. They want to get married and all this other stuff. He wants to propose. Something happened where he wanted to propose, and she was like, "Give me," what'd she say, 3 months or? She told him to give her a certain amount of time. She told him to give her
it was like 6 months or something.
6 months. Yeah, she was like, "Give me a certain amount of time, and then we can get married." And so he was like, "Okay." So then you flash forward, and they have gotten married. They have 3 kids.
No, they have another baby on the way. And Kylo 3 years old.
Kylo's 3 years old, and they have another baby on the way. Okay. So they have another baby coming into the picture. They're now married. They're living their best lives. They're happy as they want to be. Eugen over there, salty somewhere, mad. Her parents and her are racist in a corner somewhere. And that is pretty much the end of the story.
Yeah, they
So
ended up just talking about how their parents, his parents was really good to them. They end up going to Korea every summer, Christmas and New Year's or something like that. They just kind of went back and forth between the countries. So yeah, that was pretty much the end of the story. They lived happily ever after.
They did. How did you feel about this? Oh, I like this story. I was excited for this to be the first story back because it was quick. It was a voice to text. No, text to speech. It was a text to speech story. very quick to get through, good content. I wish there was some more information about some of those other things that happened. Not necessarily
Mhm.
needed, but just because it would have been cool to know what was being said. Other than that, I really liked the story. I thought it was a good story back.
Mhm.
How did you
And
feel?
even in the end of the story, it even was talking about how Jimmy, like the whole all 7 members of BTS was with another race. They were
Hmm.
just with Asian women. They were with African women and Hispanic women and like all kind of different women. And they were
Hmm.
just kind of talking about that. But yeah, it was a good book. I loved the book. I thought it was so cute. I actually listened to it a couple times. And
It
it
was
was so
cute.
nice. It was so nice to have this story and not that we don't love Court of Thorns, because I love Court of Thorns and we're going back to it one day. But
Yeah.
but
I
it
mean,
is
those are
a
good
lot.
stories.
Huh?
It's a lot. It is a lot, but it's also, I think, because we are used to doing fan fictions. Not that we don't read other stuff, but it's just, I think those stories are a lot of information. They're longer
A lot.
stories.
Very
They're
detailed.
very, very detailed. And so those have to be broken up, which is kind of hard to do. And, so
Mhm.
yeah, this story was good. I liked this story. I missed these stories. I
Oh, I
enjoyed
did.
these stories. I was just like, dang, this is what it feels like to be back, and I like it.
And then,
So,
y'all, I started listening to it because she got a couple Texas Free stories on
oh,
her,
do she?
the same author. And I started listening to the story, and I listened to like 1 or 2 chapters. I was like, "Oh, this about to
Good.
be good." But we don't like to do back to back the same author like that.
Yeah.
But that story gonna be good too. I can already tell.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's like a vampire type story. So
Oh, I'm excited. I want to read some more of her stuff. We're not sure what our next story is going to be just yet, but we will have another one out soon. Um, Another fanfic.
and it may not
Um,
be BTS. It may just
it
be
may not be
anybody.
BTS. Yeah, because
Just a random fanfic because I didn't seen a lot of them that
yeah,
really sound good that I want to share with you.
we got some recommendations for stories, and they are fanfics, but like Lisa was saying, they're not necessarily BTS fanfics. So we're gonna check those out, and we're gonna let you guys know and review them, and you guys can join us. So follow us on our social media, so our Instagrams, our YouTube, our TikTok. Follow us there, comment, like, subscribe. If you have any recommendations, please send them to us. You can DM us, or you can fill out our little form that we have on the it's in our link tree. I think it's in there that has the
Uh-huh.
recommendations. So you can always send those recommendations. We will get to them as soon as we can. We have a long list. We have a very long list. So we're trying to get through everything as quickly as we possibly can. The Court of Thorns held
Uh-huh.
us up a little bit. That series held us up a little bit,
A little bit, a
but
lot bit.
a lot of it. But we're gonna get back to it. So
Yes.
thank you guys for tuning in. Yeah. Do you have anything else? That's it.
Nope. Bye.
Bye.